talk about some of the things to consider when making a new design. So we'll start off with what you're kind of needing to consider and what kind of look you're really wanting to create. And basically, I think the very first thing I want to mention is, your home should really feel like a home. I mean, when you come home from work and you drive up to your driveway and you walk up to your front door, how does that feel? Does it really feel like you're coming home? Or does it feel like you're coming to the house where you happen to live? So that really we want to make it feel like home. We want to make it feel like a welcome place for the neighbors and friends. Really make a living space. And it can be something very, very simple. It can be something very complex. It can be a matter of a few pots strategically placed in the yard and the porch. It can be a whole landscape design. So, whatever your circumstances, it can be something. There's some guidelines to go with it. Really, landscaping and gardening are a form of art, really. So, there's no hard and fast rules, but there are some great guidelines that can kind of help you along. I know what it's going to look like from here, but I also need to know, having a diagram of the property from above, and then making notes of what's in the shade, during what hours, and then you need to choose your plants accordingly. So, decide whether you need trees for shade if you plan on spending time outside, or maybe trees to shade the house. Different necessities, and then also figure out how you want this to look ornamentally. You want shapes and heights that are going to work with the house, not be blocking its best features, but rather framing it. Sometimes I walk into a yard, and the very first thing that I hit is this great big photinia. It's huge. I mean, just massive. And it's blocking right in the middle of the view, right in the very, very middle. And then I walk around that, and then I see just random bits of color here and there, just things that were planted kind of over the years, accumulated. And I'm doing a lot of this. That's a pretty color. Ooh, that's a pretty color. And it's all down here. All the color seems to be sprinkled at the very on the ground. And really what we want to do is get some height in there, bring the eyes up, so that when we look at it, at the scene as a whole, we're really seeing the beauty of the home.
We're 3/4 of the way up on the house, so we're not dominating the house, and then we stagger our plantings down in size. So we're going to go with those 2 to 3 foot plants like the Indian hawthorn. I use a lot of those. We're going to break into here, space about 6 foot on center. And then I go to my next lower story plant, the 2 to 3 footers in here. So what I've done is we've taken the height of the plants and scooped it right down to the door, so your eye follows the height, and it does, it really does. You could trick the eye, so you're planting at the space properly, 6, 7 feet on things like Indian hawthorn. I will still put at least 6 foot apart, sometimes more, so the plants grow into a nice grouping. And I always use 3 and 4 and 7s and odd numbers. So.